Woohoo! Hey, welcome everybody back to Hex Token channel. Pumped, man. It's much easier doing the second live stream, I must say, than the first one. And of course, we had Richard Hart come in and do that update with the Heist of Stakes director. I thought that was a lot of fun, that interview. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. If you haven't checked it out, pretty awesome. Now, of course, we're going to have a lot of fun here. Your host, Superman, get into the chat, say hello. Community is number one. And of course, we're going to be looking at some cool things here. With the Fiat, of course, Fiat being going to be on Pulsechain. Just trying to turn off my audio here. So Fiat Pulsechain Bank, Fiat Pulsechain Bank. Now we do have different versions of Pulsechain banks. We've got liquid loans out there as well, and we're going to have obviously a lot of other different types of dApps and things on the chain. So here we are on Pulsechain, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to go through the Fiat Pulsechain Bank, and I think this is going to be really big. They had a very quick sacrifice phase and sold out in a very short period of time. A lot of people didn't actually know about it, so it went pretty quickly. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Obviously, Aave, one of the biggest lending platforms out there in DeFi space, so we're going to get into that. Also, deposits. So obviously, people depositing. We're going to talk about all that too. Stay tuned for deposits and lending and many of the other activities that are going to go on with the lending side. So stay tuned for that on Pulsechain. Now, I think this is going to be a massive pumpamental. If you saw my video yesterday, we talked about the second wave. So the second wave being about 4 to 8 weeks after Pulsechain. And it does look like liquid loans and Fiat will launch in that period, probably that 4 to 8 week period. We'll get both the big two lending dApps on Pulsechain launching from the looks of it, based on what their teams have said. So very cool. So that's going to be pretty exciting. I call that the second wave. Lending is ginormous. It really does absolutely pump asset values. So I think it's going to be pretty awesome. You never have to sell. Hashtag never have to sell. And of course, hashtag pump, as we say on this channel. Or do we say moon, or whatever, something like that. We're not going to carry that on too much further than today. That's how we roll. Let's get into the chat, folks. We've got It's Now Known House there. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Good to see you. We've got Easy as well. Woo-hoo. Nice one. Hey, good to see Property View in the channel there. Hey, great channel, says Property View. I appreciate that. Big shout out to you. Great to see you in the chat there. Sandeep, all the way from Calcutta, India. Good to see you as well. Woo-hoo-hoo. Yeah, absolutely. And Rango's in there too. Let's go. Absolutely, let's go. Now, we have to be patient. Pulsechain is coming, and we have to be patient. And we're probably going to talk about less about the time frame for a little while and more about what's coming up when it does launch. Obviously, software is difficult. And, of course, when you get internal audits done, sometimes you find a bit of extra work. So I think that's kind of where we're at the moment. The senior devs have kind of looked at some of the work and picked up a few issues that just either need to be itemized and done before Pulsechain launches or done after Pulsechain, and particularly around the validators and stuff like that. So we're going to see how that plays out. And of course, Richard will give us a timeline when he's fit and ready. So that's kind of where we're at. So we're going to talk about a lot of the projects that are going to come onto Pulsechain, and of course be amazing. The second wave, I think, is going to be really underestimated, and maybe some people will forget about it when Pulsechain launches. It's going to be a lot of fun. Rango's in the house there. Woo-hoo-hoo. Good to see you. How are you? I'm very good, Rango. And thanks for asking. And It's Now says staked. I'm great. Are you? Yeah, I'm staked too. Stake your Hex, get your T-shares, and earn the Hex on Hex per day. Pretty amazing stuff. In fact, we're going to probably look at that towards the end of the live stream if we have enough time. Brendan's in the house there. Woohoo! Hey, good to see it. Hodl Generation as well, shouting out. Very nice. And what else we got going on here? We've got a few other comments here. My studio jumps sometimes, so it jumps the comments. Baby Turtle's in the house there. Good to see you. I love Jeeves. Nice one. And of course, Lies Beneath comes in every day. I love this. It's one of my favorite sections of the chat. Lies Beneath comes in and says, hello, how are you? And of course, then has the ultimate strategy for pumping your bags. Hello, all. Hex, EHEX, PLS, and PLSX for the win. Absolutely 100% agree with that. Hi, Excellence in the house there. G'day, all. Good to see you. Woohoo! And Shaolin X is in the house. Hey, Shaolin X, awesome. G'day, Superman. RH says May the 28th, says Shaolin X. Where have you heard that, Shaolin X? Where have you heard that? And Tin Top's in the house there. What's up, Excellence? Good to see you, Tin Top. And Brendan Islick says moon. Absolutely. Excellent choice, said, woo, I made it. Nice to see you in the chat. Who else is in the net? Excellent choice. Looking good. lives beneath with the emojis, smashing them out. Man, oh man, we look so good. And we've got about 41 people in the house at the moment. And so we'll probably, should head up a bit higher, maybe up towards 100 or so. Let's see how we get on with this, with the live stream number two. So yeah, lots on. Richard did a live stream with, I think, some Playboy model or photographer or something like that. I haven't seen it. I know that Sandy Beach said that Richard said a couple of weeks at least in there. Of course, we're just going to have to wait, really. We've had a couple of weeks, couple of months, so we're just going to have to wait till we get something more certain around that. And of course, then he did the highest of stakes interview with the director, which I did see, and I thought that was really, really good and fun. It was a fun session, so I did enjoy that. Let me know in the chat if you enjoyed any of those. So very, very positive. Now, this is probably the big thing, is that as a community, we need to stick together and keep on track, and of course talk about all the good things that are coming, so that people can hear about that. So hopefully that's kind of my general topic on there. Katie says, Superman, always keeping it real. Cheers. Woo-hoo-hoo. Hey, Katie, appreciate that. Absolutely. Hex God says, my June 7th might be a good turtle power. I think you might be right, Hex God Turtle. I think you're pretty well positioned, as opposed to probably sooner than later. Later than sooner, I should say. Richard Hart came on me in a dream. Oops, says Charlotte Hex. That's that. This is a family channel, so I'm going to have to delete that comment. We don't have that sort of stuff in this chat. Sorry there, Charlotte Hex. No, you're new to the channel, but we're going to have to remove that off. So cool. This is a family channel. Tin Top's in the house there with the emojis. Very, very cool. Tin Top as well. Woohoo! Superman always brings the positive energy. Appreciate that, Brendan. Crypto Tycoon as well. What's happening, Super X Man? I hope everyone is well. I think so. I think everyone's doing pretty well for sure. Two Franz in there. What up, Superman? Hey, well, we're going to be talking about a lot about finance. So let's get into it, folks. Hope you welcome everybody. Get into the chat. Say hello. We're going to keep moving forward. So let us have a look at, here we are on Pulsechain. We're going to have a look at Fiat. So Fiat is a fork of Aave. So before we have a look at Fiat, we're going to have a look at Aave itself and have a quick look at that. So this is a review video. So we won't be doing tutorials per se, because I'm not wanting to take any loans out of this. My Play wallet here, so I don't do any activities with this, but we're going to definitely have a good review of these sites and get some learnings out of them. So when you're looking at depositing and borrowing, obviously people are going to be able to deposit PLS with the validators and earn a little bit of yield. It's going to be very low at the beginning. And of course, that will ramp up as more of the block is filled up, as we get more congestion into more traffic onto Pulsechain. And of course, being able to stake with validators will become more, more profitable volume-wise. But it's going to be very low for a long time, I would suggest, and then ramp up over time. Obviously, the price can do amazing things, so people want to accumulate volume. So people want to get deposit rates. They want to get really good deposit rates and get good interest. So that's our first topic, is interest deposits. Is basically being out, how can you put your Pulse and other assets somewhere, stable coins, etc., and get a nice return on that, increasing your volume and waiting for the price to go up and get those big X returns that so many people are looking forward to, particularly with the native tokens, Pulse, PulseX, and even X, for example, which you can already stake, so you can already get really good APY on that. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see which places offer good places to put your PLS. Now, some places want you to swap your tokens into their native tokens and then give you PLS, which is kind of the wrong way around. I would definitely avoid doing that as much as possible. Your Pulse and your PulseX example is the key token. You want to keep that. If you give it to other platforms and maybe there's something bad happens, maybe a rug pull, maybe anything like that, then you would lose your founding token. You'll be left with the rubbish token. So be careful with those ones. We want you to accumulate more of the high value tokens, the Richard Hart tokens in particular, Pulse and PulseX, and of course you don't lose your stables either. So there's some things to think about from the deposit side. Now, obviously, when you can go to DeFi.com, and of course you can actually see the good lending rates and the good borrowing rates here. So if we're going to go to the lending rates, you can see some of the lending rates here, lending money out, and of course if you want to borrow, you can do the borrow rates here as well. And so we're going to have a look at some of these things that you can do on the lending rates here. You can see that it's got many of the leaders here. Compound V2, Aave in the second one here. I'm going to zoom on this one to make that a little bit bigger. And of course, BlockFi, Nexo, Celsius, Gemini. Many of you would have heard of these before. We've got Bitfinex and Coinbase exchanges in there as well. we have the tokens on the left-hand side, DAI, USDC, ETH, BTC, etc. All these different assets, very popular ones. And of course, we've got different interest rates that you can earn there. Now, obviously, you can see Aave number 2 there, 3.51% on DAI, 2.89% on USDC, etc. And of course, you've got other assets down here as well. You got Maker, Wrap Bitcoin, and things like that. So different type of assets you can earn. Obviously, got to make sure they're on the right chain and everything like that, right tokens. But that's Aave. Gives you some idea of the borrowing rates. Obviously, the lending rates there. So that's the lending rates or the lending rates here. Sorry, this is I had the wrong one selected there. This is the lending rates. So 2.25 for DAI, 1.72% on Aave. And of course USDC 2.36%. Now obviously USDT is considered a bit more riskier, of course, with the asset backing behind it. USDC is considered a bit better with past audits. The audits are getting old, but past audits there 21, I think 2020. I think they had audits on those, and of course Fiat backed, as far as I recall. So these tend to do a bit better. The DAI, of course, has got a mixed bag as well, so it's a little bit less secure, and I guess the interest rates are kind of reflecting that risk return. I'm not sure if there's the direct relationship, but definitely it may also be volume and liquidity based. But at the moment, of course, those are the differences there, 2.25. So you can have your stables earn a bit more. It's pretty neat like that. And of course, you've got lots of other assets in there where you can potentially earn interest rates there. So you've got borrowing and lending rates. There's a pretty cool rate on DeFiRate.com. So I'll post this in the chat there just in case some of you haven't seen it. You might want to check that out. So this is no risk, right? If the only risk is the contract itself. Now these contracts have been working for a long time, so really there's no risk. They've had audits as well, so it's pretty good stuff. You can check that out for rates. Now, once of course you check it, select a provider, you can go to Aave, and of course we're going to go to Aave here, and we can see the new format. This is the new format for Aave. This is on the Ethereum network, on Avalanche, on Polygon. Now, Polygon, obviously, in other chains like non-Ethereum chains, the fees are much cheaper to do the transactions, so you don't have so much of a gas fee, particularly during high Ethereum gas periods. But you can do all sorts of stuff on here. So basically, this is the new format. So you got the dashboard, the markets, the stake, the governance, and you got more features here. So remember, the reason why we're looking at this is because you can deposit and borrow from here. So that's kind of what two things you can do. Obviously, people are going to be if you're not getting a lot of volume from staking with the validators on Pulsechain, then maybe Fiat will have that, and of course we're going to get to that shortly. So here we're looking at what's being forked. This is what a Fiat will be forking, and of course this is the big deal. Now, so we've got the Aave here, we've got the governance, all that sort of stuff. Interesting, one of their recent governance here was freezing USDT and updating their ST-ETH parameters, so that was interesting. So they had to deal with that issue on this platform. But in any case, the markets show you that they've got these tokens that we talked about with DAI, USD, Tether, Aave. So this is the native token on the platform. Avalanche, Wrap Bitcoin, and Wrap Ethereum there. They've got some of the supply interest rates here and the borrowing interest rates as well. And you can see that. So I'm going to zoom on that a little bit there. They've also got the borrow APY, and of course it's a variable one. They've also got a borrow APY, a stable one. Now, a variable one just means that it's got a lot more short-term market fluctuations, and of course that's better for short-term loans, for example. The borrowing APY stable is better for long-term loans if you can get them. So just remember that. So basically, this is the new format, of course. You can actually click more here and switch to the classic Aave section, and that's what we're going to do, because the reason why we're going to do that is because it looks more like the Fiat fork that's going to be forked here, and of course that's probably why they got access to that license-wise, is my guess on that one. So we're going to jump to that. Obviously, up on the cogs here, you can turn dark mode on if you want dark mode on. You can also use a testnet mode there. I don't know, haven't used it myself, so you can do that. We're going to jump over to the classic mode just because it looks like the Fiat fork that we're going to get so far. And of course, it splits things out. So we've got deposit and borrows split out now, as opposed to the new format, which you basically can jump in on the actual asset and interact with it this way. So that's cool. The other thing, of course, you can change the markets. So you've got V3 markets here. And then, of course, you've got V2 markets here. I think the V2, Ethereum, and Polygon, I think, are the most popular. Avalanche is pretty popular. Avalanche is pretty popular too. We can actually see that by the total market size that's in there. So, yeah, that's a bit more. It's got 779 million on Polygon, Vision 2 markets. And Avalanche has got how much? 551, so a bit smaller there. And Ethereum, how much is that? 10 billion. So 10 billion on Ethereum total market size. What does that include? Total available for looks of it, and total borrows there as well, 3.39 billion. Big deal. So why do people borrow? People borrow. So we're talking about people depositing. Obviously, you get good interest rates. So that's the supply side here. You can see the interest rates that people are earning. Let me just get into this. We're going to do Ethereum market there. You can see the 10 billion market cap, 3.39 billion, total available 7.44. And of course, you can see, let's take a popular one here. Let's take DAI. And you can see that total supply is 595 million of DAI. And of course, with 592 million. And of course, the interest rate there for supplying, basically depositing, getting interest deposit is 2.27%. But you're also going to get another token on top of that, which is the STK Aave token, as another benefit on here. So participating in this DAI reserve gives an analyzed rewards of 0.42% APY. So obviously that has its own token price there as well. So that's pretty neat there. Borrowed amount 417 million DAI borrowed. So it's pretty neat. And of course, the borrowing APY 3.57%. Plus, they pay you to borrow. Yes, they do. They pay you to borrow. You get some Aave tickets there as well. So that's got a APY is higher, which makes sense, right? Participating in the DAI reserve gives analyzed rewards of 1.2% APR. So that's not too bad. That's not too bad. And of course, there's also, particularly for DAI, there happens to be a stable APR as well. So APY on that one. So that's pretty cool. Now, obviously, you can click the details. That will take you into the DAI a bit more closer. So obviously, you've got a link to the contract there. It's got the reserve size, 592 million. The available liquidity that people can borrow is 176 million. And the utilization rate is 70%. So the amount that people have used of the borrowing amount. And then they've got an Oracle price there as well at $1. So the APY there is sitting in here, and you've got a history of the APY here. Had a bit of a blip here on the 17th of April, and I'm not sure why that was, but they've got the APY has been pretty consistent on this. So you can see it's quite a steady, reliable kind of a way of lending or borrowing on here for these particular tokens. It's been around for a while. They got the maximum LTV. So on DAI, LTV is a loan to value ratio. So you might have heard of that in property. When you go to lend against a house is worth, say, $1 million. And of course, they may give you an LTV of maybe 90%. So you could borrow $900,000 against a house, for example, on a really high level house. This one here on DAI, if you deposit DAI, you'll be able to get 75%. So the maximum LTV ratio represents the maximum borrowing power of a specific collateral. For example, if a collateral has an LTV of 75%, users can borrow up to 75% worth of the ETH that you put in. So if you put in 10 ETH, you could borrow 7.5 ETH. That's basically what it means. Then, of course, there's a liquidation threshold. And, of course, that's 80%. This represents a borrowing position will be considered under-collateralized and subject to liquidation for each collateral. So, for example, if a collateral has a liquidation threshold of 80%, that means that the position will be liquidated when the debt value is worth 80% of the collateral value. So you have to take that into account. There's also a 5% penalty here on liquidation if you did fall into that camp. And, of course, liquidators repay up to 50% of the outstanding borrowed amount on behalf of the borrower. And in return, they can buy the collateral at a discount and keep the difference. Liquidation penalty as a bonus. So obviously, you don't want to get yourself into those sort of things, but that's pretty much it. So that's the supply info. And of course, the borrowing info is a little different there. Obviously, a high APY when you're borrowing, 3.57%, and the APY is stable there, 12.47%. But you do, on the APY variable, you do earn, they do pay you an STK Aave token for that at 1.2% APY. So it's not too bad there. And of course, that's been fairly consistent there, around the 3 to 4 mark there, as you can see in the last month, April to May. And then it's got the interest rate model here on the stable and the variable, these pink and red lines here, and the optimal one there at the top, which is your loan to value ratio. So pretty cool. That's what you can do there in terms of depositing and borrowing. So I think it's pretty neat. Obviously, they've got an Aave token. You can stake the Aave token, and you can earn Aave, which is pretty cool. And of course, earn some of the fees. Aave holders can stake the Aave in a safe mode to earn security the protocol and earn safety incentives. In case of the shortfall event, up to 30% of your stake can be slashed to cover the deficit, providing an additional layers of protection to the protocol. So there are some pros and cons to that. There's 356 million funds in there. That's a pretty big one there. And of course, they got 1100 Aave emission factor. So you can stake Aave, you can stake Aave ETH, BPT, and look at that. So those are all extra features. But basically, the main ones that we're trying to look at is the fact that you can deposit and get interest, and you can borrow and use those borrowing funds. So those are the two top things. That's the lending. And now, obviously, with Aave here, you've got this is the modern view. So this is the modern view. This is the current view, and this is the one that kind of looks like it's getting forked. You've got my dashboard. You can deposit your funds. You can decide which version you want to use, Polygon or Avalanche or Ethereum, and of course you can deposit funds that way. You can also select, say, DAI, and of course you will see your DAI in there. And of course, if you've got your borrowing here, you can borrow against that. So if you want to borrow some DAI, you can borrow it here. And of course, got the interest rates here that you might want to borrow: short-term, variable rate, long-term, a stable rate. Take that into account. And of course, if there's also got a swap feature here, if you want to swap tokens, you can have some other tokens in there to do it. And of course, you can always stake your Aave. So this is the old classic format, and this looks like the one that's actually getting forked by Fiat. That's pretty cool. It looks like I've lost that one there. Let me just close that one's not closing. All right, so cool. That's what we've got there. Now you can actually use. So you already know that you can check out the best prices. For each one that you want to deposit, or if you want to deposit or lend against, you can use something like DeFi rate. And of course, you can compare the different service providers. You can come to Aave, of course, and use the platform, either deposit or borrow, just by connecting your wallet up. And of course, you can use Avalanche, Polygon, Ethereum, for example, to do that. And of course, then of course you can earn and just basically keep earning and cash it in, right? So what sort of use cases can you do if you want to monitor that? You can use something like DeFi Yield.app, and of course you can monitor your positions in using these borrowings and deposits. It will add up all those sort of details for you just by connecting the wallet up there, for example. So you just have to make sure that you're happy with the platform, but always do your investment due diligence. Okay, so that's a quick overview of Aave. Obviously, one of the biggest lending borrowing protocols out there. And of course, you can see it's up against Compound, Fulcrum, Block DeFi, Nexus, Celsius, Gemini, etc. So it really is one of the big ones out there. So that's pretty cool. And so what's happening on Pulsechain? This is coming to Pulsechain, and of course, Fiat is bringing it. Fiat is going to fork Aave. And this is big for Pulsechain, right? This is really big. We've already got liquid loans, the big third pyramid DApp coming, and that's a little different. It's a little different. It's got a stable coin with it, the USDL, and of course that's going to be backed by Pulse. It doesn't have an interest rate per se, so obviously we can already see that this has interest rates, a borrowing and a lending interest rate. A deposit and a lending interest rate. But of course, Liquid Loans is a stable coin that's backed by PLS, which is an exogenous system, as I always say. It's not like Luna, which is an endogenous system. So it's not backed by a token that it's made up itself. It's backed by a third-party token, which happens to be Pulse. So if Pulse does well, then the USD tether will hold up well. Obviously, if Pulse goes to zero, then your USD is worth zero, right? So it's pretty much like that. But of course, if Pulse goes up and to the right, even with fluctuations, then the USDL will look good. And of course, USDL gets locked in, and so your Pulse gets locked in, so it's not going anywhere. There's no burn and mint function like the Luna one. It is pretty much locks in the PLS, and of course, it's always redeemable for one USDL is always redeemable for $1 worth of Pulse. So it's pretty cool like that. So past the period, plus it's over collateralized, right? So that's the other thing. The system has a collateralization. It always stays in over collateralization. So you've got two really big differences there in terms of the platform. Plus, of course, you don't pay interest, you pay a fee. So sometimes that can be semantics. But in this case, it's generally going to be about 0.5% in terms of the borrowing cost. So which is actually pretty attractive, right? If you're holding Pulse, and of course, it has the rest of the platform gets that fee gets distributed to people that hold loan token, and of course, use their stable USDL, put it on the platform. So there's ways of getting those fees back. So it's pretty cool. So Fiat is going to be an alternative to that, of course, with the borrowing and lending features, and of course the utility that you're going to be able to do with that. And of course, it's going to cover not just PLS, but many other tokens, stable coins, and other tokens. So it's going to be pretty cool. So that's what we've got Fiat at the moment. So Fiat has had a sacrifice, was very, very successful. And of course, it's going to be pretty powerful stuff there. Obviously got a token as well, the Fiat token. So we're going to jump over to the DApp, of course. We're going to FAQ, sorry. So it's a cool FAQ here. I'm not going to read through this, but it's got a good FAQ on the website. But I'm going to post you the link in the chat there if you want to check out the Fiat link. So definitely check that out. Bam. And you can read the FAQ. Don't want to get into too much of that. But of course, there's also a Twitter account, and the Twitter account has 2,000 followers on it. And of course, it has the Testnet DApp up at the moment that you can play around with. Now, I suggest that this probably doesn't have all the features that they're going to have. So we will check it out for sure. Now, I had a big sacrifice, and the sacrifice was pretty low key, if you ask me. At least somehow I missed it myself, or at least I wasn't looking at it. Maybe I just wasn't looking at it, I'm not sure. But I was covering all these sacrifices, as you guys know. If you've watched my channel, I've been covering sacrifices a lot compared to probably the most out of any content creator. I was covering diligently every day most of the sacrifices. Somehow I missed the Fiat one, or at least I maybe crossed over it or whatever. But only lasted a couple of days, right? Only lasted a couple of days, and they raised a pretty handsome 3.6, almost $3.7 million, 867 wallets here, and possibly some of those wallets are pooled wallets as well. So there may be a slightly higher number of wallets there. Now, this submit here on Hex Pulsechain info suggests that there's about 35 million Fiat tokens in supply, and the top wallet had $750,000 there, 606.8 million in terms of Fiat. Now, that seems to have happened in a couple of transactions there. Mostly USDC was put on there as well. And some pulse dodge, for goodness sake. They put their pulse dodge in there as well. Good to see that. The other thing is, the second one here is 160,000. And of course, they used Ethereum. So just different mixtures of assets in there. That's pretty funny seeing the top wallet there. It looks like they've chimed in their 900 pulse dodge. And of course, 900 would make them a dolphin, wouldn't it? So it looks like a dolphin account from Hex went in quite large here with this. So was that who was that? I think we might know who that is. That's what I'm saying for sure. Anyway, so sacrifice. We've got the sacrifice timeline there. All the stuff that went in there. A lot of the wallets under 5,000. A few bigger ones there, but this pie chart says it all. 20% in that top wallet, and of course 4% and 4.3% in these next two. The distribution is not too bad, but definitely some heavy big whales in there for sure. Now, why would they put so much money in a couple of days? That's because they see this as a fork of Aave. Aave, one of the biggest lenders and depositors on Ethereum and other chains. And of course, that's the people got onto it pretty hot cakes, as it were. So pretty neat on that. So if we jump to the DApp, of course, the DApp is now working on Pulsechain and Pulsechain version 2B testnet. And of course, you can see that it's basically a fork of Aave, the classic view. So remember, there's the modern view here. So let me look at the modern view here. And then, of course, we've got the classic view here with the deposits and borrowing. So it looks very much like that. And that's what we see in the testnet here. Now, it's got my dashboard, deposit, borrow, stake, and links. Where we look at the classic Aave, it's got deposit, borrow, swap. So it doesn't have the swap feature in the Fiat fork at the moment. It doesn't have the governance feature in Fiat, the Fiat fork demo at the moment. Remember this demo? There are apparently 2 devs working on this, and they are apparently professionals, not Hexkins as I understand it. And then we have the front man, Dylan, and then there's another chap as well that's leading the devs there, who is, I understand, a Hexkin. So pretty cool on that. So we've got the links here. Obviously, you can choose the markets at the moment. It's only Pulsechain version 2 is the one that you can check there. Where if you go back to Aave, and I might pull this up here. If you go back to Aave, you will see that you can select different markets, Polygon, Avalanche, etc. It might show quite small on your screen, but that's what you can check there. And of course, you've got the markets here. You got the dashboard if you deposit funds, and then you can borrow against them, for example. And of course, you got the deposit there, and you got the borrow there as well. And then, of course, staking once the Fiat token is issued. Now, I understand that will be issued at the beginning of Pulsechain launch and given to the people that sacrifice. Obviously, a lot of people are going to be after that token if they missed out on it and they believe it's going to be anything near as successful as Aave. Then they might very well do that. Remember, there was $10 billion at least on Ethereum side. So who knows how much could get put into this on the Pulsechain side, especially if it is the Pulsechain bank. And of course, I think Liquid Loans also be kind of a pulse bank. Let's put a Pulsechain bank. But this one's got a broader view, different features. So they both will operate pretty well in the space. Now, obviously, so we've got staking there. And of course, if we go to deposit here, we can deposit. And I'm going to switch this over to switch the game wallet over to Pulsechain so we can interact with this. We're going to go through a few basic things here. So we've gone through what this is, a fork of Aave. We're going to look at, we've already talked about interest deposits and lending. We're going to talk about that a little bit more here. But of course, we can deposit funds here. So if we go to deposit, we can select on any of these assets at the moment. So the asset class is a little bit different. We've got, obviously, we can click stable at the top here. We'll get USDC. And of course, we've got all here. We can see Pulse Hex, Test Pulse, Hedron, Fiat, Algo. So this is going to have a lot of Pulsechain ecosystem tokens, very popular ones, I would suggest. I expect it to also have the USDL, and I believe the founder has talked about having USDL on here, which is the liquid loan stablecoin backed by Pulse and over collateralized. Remember, giving a lot of strength. So I think that's pretty cool. And of course, you can click on stable here. You can click on the stable there. Now, it just so happens that it is reading the wallet. So if I click deposit there, it will read my wallet and the deposit side, and I can put any of these funds in. If I go to borrow, obviously I've got nothing to borrow. I can borrow nothing at the moment because I haven't added anything. But maybe I'm risk averse. I'm not into lending. I don't want to do anything with lending. I don't want to take any risk on with lending. I just want to get a good deposit rate. Maybe the validator volume is just too low with the Pulsechain validators. It's cool if you've got tons and tons of Pulse. Maybe you haven't got that much or so forth. You could put it in here, for example, or maybe just the APY is just better. Like all these APYs on here at the moment are fictional, so just remember that. So anything you see here is just made up, but of course it will have some sort of APY. At the moment, we can see that on Aave, we can see the borrow and lends pretty accurate. So I would suggest to you that they're probably going to be similar, maybe higher at first, but probably tend towards the market average is my guess. Now you can see there's quite a lot of variability even across these platforms at the moment. So there's no reason why there won't be quite a gap in yields on Pulsechain, and they probably will start off much higher as my guess as the market sort of matures and grows and settles down. So there could be some nice little return rates there as well, especially in the accumulation phase. Like I said, the first couple of months on Pulsechain will be very heavily accumulation phase. People want to get a lot of tokens, so very important there. Now, obviously, deposits is what people want to get. The safe way of getting more volume is by getting interest on your deposit that you've already got. And of course, the second way of getting more is by borrowing against your deposit and buying more volume en masse, on bulk. And then, of course, they're trying to get a yield on that. So there's lots of opportunities for doing that. The safe way, of course, is that you don't have any interest to pay, is just to deposit. So you can select any of these. We're going to select the stable coin here, and sorry, I'm on the Aave here. We're going to select it. See how quick similar that was. So similar, I didn't even realize. But there we are. We've got the fact that we can select any one of these. We can hit stable coin with USD. I just so happen to have, by magic, $100,000 USDC sitting on Pulsechain Testnet. I can click max on that, and I can deposit all that. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go continue. And something went wrong there. Not sure why that was. So there we are. That's not a good start there. Network declines. So make sure that I've got the right network here. That was unexpected. I did not expect that to happen. Maybe the testnet is over. Hopefully it's not over. We will try and go back to that. We have to start again. That did not expect that to happen. Let's go to the testnet. We're going to try that one more time. And let's hopefully we'll be able to connect there. It's going to read my dashboard. Deposit, and we're going to deposit USDC, and hopefully should be able to deposit the max on that. There we are. So that's populated. We're going to increase the scale of that. So what does it say there? It's got a utilization rate of 96%. Available liquidity at the moment on the testnet, there's almost $5 million, $4.9 million Deposit APY is 42%, so obviously that's insane in the membrane for USDC. So you can tell it's completely fictional at the moment. Can be used as collateral. That's very important. In other words, if I deposit this asset, I can actually borrow against it. And of course, if you do want to earn more than just interest rate returns, you can use the borrowing feature. So very, very cool. Asset price $1. Maximum LTV, remember that loan to value ratio is 80%. So very nice here on USDC. How does that compare to Aave? Aave stable coins on USDC. I think we had 85%. So it's lower on here on Fiat, at least for the time being. Obviously, this is a test net there. Liquidation threshold 85%. What's it on Aave? It doesn't have it particularly on here. It's probably on another one of those pages that we looked at. And liquidation penalty 5%. That's pretty standard. So pretty standard there. Got a slightly lower LTV or loan to value ratio in terms of what I can put on there. Anyway, these are your details. Go to check if this is correct for submitting. So we're $100,000. Collateral, yes. First, these are the steps I have to do. I have to approve it, one, deposit, and then finish it. So I'm going to approve the token first, the USDC token in Pulsechain. And of course, it's going to ask me to grant permission to do that. Now, it's got a little fee there that's going to be charged. And I'm going to accept that. It's just a fraction of a pulse. So cool. I can edit the permissions if I want. It does have automatic approval limit on the Fiat contract here, so it's not unlimited. There's an automatic limit there on the spend. I'm happy with that. It's going to cost me 0.000736 test pulse, and I'm going to confirm that. That's pretty cool. We might as well open this up on the expand view so you can see the wallet interaction. So you can see approve USDC spend. So we're doing that at the moment. And of course, we had 100,000 USDC in there. That's probably going to disappear when we finish off the rest of the transaction. So we've done the approval. Number 2, deposit. So we're going to deposit that, and away we go. So we're going to click that. And of course, it's going to cost 0.0077 of a tip pulse. So cheap. And we're going to confirm that. And away it goes. We'll have that coming up on the activity. Deposit. We can still see that I've got the $100,000 USDC in there, but that's going to be pulled out now with the deposit. So where that gets done, what's happened to my USDC? It's gone. My USDC is gone. Away it is gone. And of course, now it's got the final one here finished. Step 3, approved and confirmed. I can check that on the Pulsechain Block Explorer. And of course, I can also add TA USDC to your browser. I'm going to do that and add that token. Bam. And of course, that would add to the browser there. I guess it's going to be at the bottom. There it is there, 100,000 TA USDC. Woo-hoo-hoo. All right, so we're moving along. So that's pretty cool. We can jump to the dashboard straight away. And of course, that's going to show 100,000 US dollars there sitting there. And of course, the deposit composition is all USDC. So I've got $100,000 there, APY 42%. Now that'd be pretty crazy, right? Every dog and cat would be putting their this USDC in there if they were going to earn a 42% APY on a stable coin like USDC. So that'd be pretty crazy there. So pretty nice there. Nothing borrowed yet. There will be a list of borrowing assets I can borrow now, of course. So I'm on my dashboard at the top there, and I can borrow now. So basically, I'm earning interest 42%. Pretty cool. Yeah. Pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that. But of course, it's not going to be like this, right? We already know that the market's already pricing, USDC 0.81% on Compound V2, 1.2% here. BlockFi's got 7.25%. So I'm not sure whether there's any extra catches with that. These are only on Lend, so they're only on Lend. So let me do Lend on Lend one there. So there is some indication of what the interest rates are. So pretty cool. Got to be careful. That's just got Lend on there. Cool. We've got that. So this is what we expect to earn. We might earn a couple % returns. That's pretty good for a stable coin as well. So anyway, we've got, have I borrowed any information? Nothing. I've got $100,000 of collateral, which is the deposit I put in. The current LTV is nothing. I've got a health factor here. This is very important. The health factor represents the safety of your loan derived from the proportion of collateral versus the amount borrowed. Keep it above 1 to avoid liquidation. You got it? Okay, I got it. So you smash that. So that's the number one thing you need to do. You don't want to get liquidated. Remember all those, the penalties, 5%, etc. And of course, liquidations, you don't want to get that happening as well. But anyway, we've got $100,000 of borrowing there. And of course, the LTV there, we can do 75% if you recall on this one. So what we're going to do, we're moving into the next one. So this is the easy part. We can put in a token and earn an APY on it. That's easy. No risk. And of course, we just keep earning. Yep, we're getting more. That's going to be pretty cool. What we're going to do is we're going to probably add one more asset. So let's go back and add one more asset. We're going to add, in this case, we've got a lot of Hex in there, but we're going to add in Pulsex. We're going to add some Pulsex, I think. No, let's add some Test Pulse. We're going to add some Test Pulse in there. We're probably going to add in, let's say 50,000 Test Pulse. No, 5 million Test Pulse. We're going to add in 5 million. So we'll add 5 million Test Pulse in there. 5 million. Yep, that's 40,000 bucks. So we're going to do that. And actually, we might go a bit higher. Oh, it's too late to go higher. I have to go back. Do I have to go back? Yeah. So we might add in 6 million. 6 million. 6 million Test Pulse, and we're going to continue on with that. 6 million, and of course, that's going to be just under 50,000 bucks. Collateral usage, yes, we can borrow against it, so that's important. We got yes on that one, and of course, we can continue on. So we're going to deposit that, and I must have approved this already because it didn't ask for an approval. So that's cool. It's going to cost me a fraction of a Test Pulse. Very, very cool. And I have done a little play around with this before on live stream, but not as much as this. So very important. So cool. Let us jump over there, and of course, finish. That is done. We can go to the dashboard and click on that. So now we have two assets that we've deposited on Fiat, and of course, both of them earning some APY. Look at the Test Pulse earning 0.497%. That's that's on our 50k, and of course, the APY on our USDC 42%. That's going to be pretty good if you think about it. So nice on that. Now APY means annual percentage yield. Remember. So let's take that into account. Okay, so cool. We haven't borrowed anything. We've got nothing, but we have increased our collateral. We can now borrow up to 148,547 on this, which is pretty good. We're going to borrow some. Let's hit it. And of course, what are we going to borrow? We're going to borrow something. We can borrow any of these. We can click on stable coins. We can borrow more stable coins. It would be funny. But we're going to borrow. We're going to borrow some Hex, for example. So we're going to borrow some Hex, and please enter the amount you would like to borrow. The maximum amount you can borrow is shown below, 37,000 Hex. So we might borrow 10,000 Hex. How about that? We'll borrow 10,000 Hex. And look at how the health factor has changed. So when I go from 1,000 Hex, 100 Hex, it's 389. So my health factor is way above 1. So I've got a very low chance of being liquidated here. When I go put in 1,000 Hex, it goes all the way down to 39. I'm getting closer to 1. When I put in 10,000 Hex, it goes to 3.9. So that's super, super close, right? So if I went up to, let's say I go up to 37,000 Hex to borrow, that would be a factor of 1.05. So extremely risky from health point of view. So we're going to go down to say, let's go to 20,000. And of course, this is going to give us a health factor of 1.95. So, take it that what you will. It's kind of in the middle of the park there. We're going to click to continue. Obviously, if the price moves against us, we might be in a bad situation here. Just take that into account. The Hex price goes against us. So very important there. So this utilization rate at the moment of Hex, available liquidity is 15 million. And of course, there's a utilization rate of 25 at the moment on the amount. And of course, the asset price of Hex is $3.21. Just remember that. So we're borrowing against this in terms of dollars. So we've got to be careful. We've got about $148,000 we can borrow. So we'll take that into account. So if we take 20,000 and we multiply that by $3.21, then that's 64,000 that we're taking up here. So just take that into account. Remember, we could borrow about 148. So we're going to continue with that. Really happy with that, and we think that Hex is not going to fall by 50%. That's kind of where we're at there. Choose either stable or a variable APY for your loan. And remember, stable is kind of good for longer term. Variable is kind of good for short-term loans. Please click on your desirable rate and read the approach sheet. Now, obviously, it's only given us one option, so that's all the option we have is a variable rate. That was the one I was going to choose anyway. So you have selected a variable rate APY. The variable rate can increase or decrease and decrease depending on the amount of liquidity in the reserve. Just take that into account. So 4%, we're happy with that. That's pretty low if you think about it. Typically, if you've got a low interest rate, then you could borrow up quite a bit amount, right? A lot of time people will borrow 5% of their collateral and buy a lot more volume, and that's an easy way of increasing your volume bag. And if you think the price is really going to do something, that extra volume is a big game changer. It's like a small version of the haunted strategy in some ways. if you think about it. So like a first step in the whole strategy. We're going to continue that, and bam. Of course, these are your transaction details. The amount of Hex, 20,000 we're borrowing, $64,000 does the math for us there. The interest rate is going to be 4%, and it's going to be a variable interest rate, so it's going to move depending on what's happening with Hex on this pool here. And of course, borrow there, we're going to click borrow. It's going to bring us up a ticket here to borrow. And of course, it's going to cost us a fraction. Actually, it's a little bit, because of a bit more detail, it's going to cost us 0.0038 of a test pulse. So that's a lot more than just a normal transaction. And away it goes. So it's going to show up here on the MetaMask, and you can see the borrow function there going. So cool. At the moment, a Hex here. Hex, we've got 31,000 Hex already. So we're about to get another 60,000. Another 20,000. That seems to be finished. So we can go to the dashboard, and boom. Woohoo! We did it. We borrowed some Hex, and of course now what we're doing is we're speculating. We've leveraged our test pulse and our USD. We've still got that asset. We have not sold it. We have not sold our test pulse or our USD, but now we have borrowed against that, just like we'd borrow against a house. If this was our house, we borrowed against the house to buy some Hex. Yeah, I know some of you have done that in real life. No, let's not play around with those sort of things. But anyway, that's some of the stuff that goes on there. So we've got an APY here, APY here, and APY here. And of course, that's on a variable there. So that's cool. What do we got there? $64,000 borrowed. And of course, you can see that down the bottom here. Current LTV is loan to value ratio. Remember, 75% is the max, and we've got 43%. So we're not too bad there. Our health factor there is 1.194. So we want to keep away from one. That's very risky. Of course, that's where we're at the stage. Borrowing power used 53.97%. We've got the details. And of course, the LTV ratio 43, maximum is 80%, liquidation threshold 84%. So we don't want to get near there for sure. So we've got our composition, borrow composition, and a collateral composition there. We've obviously got test pulse and USDC as our collateral. That's what we deposited, and our borrowing there is 54% is Hex, and of course, borrowing power available that we've still got is 46%. So that's where we're at this stage. So cool. We got that. Now, why did we buy Hex here? Why did we do it? Well, we bought it because we suspect that the price of Hex is going to go up. And that's why we did it. So the price of Hex is going to go up. And of course, if we go to Pulse Hex, we scroll down, we can see Hex on the market here up 4.5%, $3.32. But we think it's going to go to $4. So we bought some Hex, and we think it's going to $4. And we want that to go up in value. So that's kind of the way we want to look at that. If it goes down in value, boo-hoo-hoo to us. We're getting more in trouble. Our collateral will go up, and our LTV will go up. And of course, that will be bad from our point of view. So it's a good idea to put this in a spreadsheet, for example, or you can, like I say, monitor that in a site. Let me just pull up the site here. I think I've moved it around so much I can't find where it is. DeFi yield, you could end up monitoring it on that if it's linked up to your blockchain, right? So that's the key. There's got a lot of blockchains, so as long as it's linked up there, it can keep track of your portfolio. Right, you can have your portfolio and things like that, and that can keep track of some of those things. So what do we got here? We've got the Fiat here. We've done borrowing. We've set up pretty much a lot of good stuff. We're going good. So it's pretty nice. So we've talked about interest rate deposits, lending. Now we're going to talk about margin trades, shorts and longs, right? So shorts and longs. So obviously we had no Hex. We used our stable coins, Test Pulse, to borrow against those, and now we have Hex. And of course we have gone long in Hex from the point of view that we have now leveraged. So basically, margin trade is a basic phrase of saying that we borrowed or leveraged to buy the asset. So we've bought the asset here for that purpose. So that's pretty cool. And of course, we've got that 20,000 in our wallet. So if we go to our wallets here, we should have 51,000 now. Remember, we had 32. We got 51 there now. So there was 51 there. So we've actually increased our wallet there in terms of Hex, which is pretty cool. Now, what can we do with that? We've gone long. We bought the Hex, and of course, we want the price to go up. So that's the way we're going to have it happen. But what happens if we want to short the market? We could actually take that Hex, and of course, we can click on the Hex on Pulse Hex, and of course, we can trade that. And of course, we could sell that down, right? We could sell that down, and we could sell it down into something else. So we could sell that down, and of course, that would push the price of Hex down. And of course, we would end up buying something else with it. So that's kind of of how that might work. It's a very basic form of margin trading. Obviously, it's not what we call, I guess, leveraged margin trading, which is where you get a 3x volume or 10x volume where you're buying off the market. So the market mechanics are a little bit different, but it's still pretty similar in the basic form of a margin trade with short and long. So if you're going to short it, you sell it down with money you don't have, so you're borrowing that money, and we showed you that. And of course, if you're going to go long, you can buy and just hold it and see how the price goes by doing that. Now, obviously, we're going to speculate on the price there. Now, obviously, we can also borrow stable coins there, and we could borrow stable coins, and we could end up buying even more, right? So that's if you want to buy more, you can buy more. If you want to borrow and sell down, you could sell down. Now you get into speculative things where you've got to trade into the right assets because you want to win all the time, right? You want the price to go up, or in this case, get the price cheaper, if you think about it. So it's pretty cool like that from the leverage point of view. I think the other thing, of course, is flash loans. Now, flash loans, that feature, I think they're wanting to bring that to Fiat, and of course, by doing that, those are different. So instead of having these long terms, as it were, on the platform, these are typically what they call one block flash loans. So you typically borrow them for one block, and of course, you've got to do that trade in that time, repay that in one time, and you don't have to provide collateral. So we'll see whether we get that feature in play, and typically that's an advanced feature. There are third-party platforms that provide those features. So if we go to Aave, you can end up doing that with the third-party features. Now I don't have those here, but you can end up getting third parties to set that up for you, running bots and that sort of stuff, or you got to set up as a programmer, set up a bot and interact with the API for that. So those are the flash loans. So basically that's what you see, where people just go and buy and sell, things like that, like bots do, and take advantage of the market just in a very short period of block time. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to see that on Pulsechain with 3-second block times, but it's all happens pretty fast, and the markets have to execute very, very fast there. So that's definitely some feature we might be able to see coming up in the Fiat. And it is an advanced feature, so it's probably most people won't be entertaining that, but it's definitely stuff that may be coming. The other thing, of course, is staking. Staking is going to be on Fiat with people who have sacrificed. Obviously, you're going to be able to buy that on Pulsechain when it launches. As we understand, that Fiat's going to be launching pretty straight away, but the actual platform may be 3-4 weeks later. So it really is part of our second wave, along with liquid loans, where we've got these massive lending platforms. But the fact that you can borrow and you're going to be able to do lending, you're going to be able to buy assets, potentially short and long them in a very basic sense through borrowing. And of course, there's no leveraged in the sense of 3x, 10x, 100x, but definitely having that basic one-to-one borrowing function definitely helps you do that. And of course, you also having flash loans potentially coming up. And finally, staking, of course, if you've got the actual native token Fiat, you should be able to do staking on there and get rewards that way as well from the fees and things like that. So pretty neat from that. And obviously, the good chance that they'll probably go multi-chain as well, just like you see Aave go on multi-chain. You probably see them being able to do that too. So pretty cool on that. So that's kind of a bit of an overview. And of course, you'll be going to be able to interact between Fiat and of course the Pulsechain as well. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Pulsechain does very well, that Aave comes on themselves and tries to compete on Pulsechain. Don't be surprised if you don't see that. We could end up having Aave itself coming on, adding on Pulsechain, depending on how successful that thing it is, because obviously it fits in very well with the current chains that they got in. So I wouldn't be surprised if a system state copy of Ethereum also has Aave competing. So we could have Fiat competing versus Aave, and of course they'd be essentially possibly direct competitors. They may vary by the type of token that they have. Obviously, Aave is very open to the Pulsechain ecosystem, and Aave would have to compete on a similar level, since these are the chief tokens here as well. Like I expect them to have USDL and some other popular tokens as well. But once again, if you're not even looking at doing any of those borrowings and increasing your volume that way, just like people would be on liquid loans with the stable coin USDL and putting their pulse there and stuff like that, you should. And if you can't, if the yields are just too low on the validators, then you could definitely go and use Fiat here. And this could actually probably be a booming market for lenders. I think this could actually get huge volumes on here. Like we got $10 billion in the Ethereum side on Aave. You could see massive volumes here on this one here. So if you look at the market, 10.8 billion dollars there in the total market size here. So pretty massive on the Ethereum chain V2. So imagine what Fiat here could have. This thing could surprise to the upside. Like I say, their sacrifice was fairly low. If you think about it, so where's it gone? I'm trying to find it now. Where'd it go? Boy, I've got so many stuff open, I can't even find it now. Maybe I closed it. That's probably what I did. Anyway, so they raised about $3.7 million. Pretty massive there. And of course, what could they get in terms of value locked on this chain, on this platform? Could be massive in the billions. Could definitely ramp up to that very fast, depending on how successful Pulsechain is, which we all expect it to do pretty well. Obviously ramp up over time. So pretty amazing stuff there. And of course, you can see the dashboard here. My position will keep changing over the time there. Obviously, hopefully the price of Hex goes up there. And that was a pretty good borrowing. I borrowed good money there in that terms. But in any case, I am earning some USDC and test pulse there in terms of APY. So from people that are borrowing some of those TPS and TPLS and USDC. So I am earning on these. I've got to make, hopefully I've made the right choice on the X and the price goes up, and I'll make some mad gains. Now you do want to monitor it, of course, either with a spreadsheet or with one of these third-party sites as well, like DeFi Yield, for example. Very cool. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Once again, people will be playing around with the info on PulseX. They'll be looking at opportunities here and going what I want to do with Fiat, and of course where do I think these markets are going. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Fiat is going to supercharge these in the second wave, maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks after Pulsechain launches, the platform gets set up. But the token itself apparently is going to launch straight away. So we'll see Fiat will probably have a lot of speculative play. There's not a lot of people that own it. So it could actually moon pretty awesome. So that could be one to look out for, it as the old Fiat token on Pulsechain, given how big this potentially could be and how few people actually hold the token. So it's one for watch. Obviously, do investment due diligence. Nothing on this discussion has been investment advice, just a review in my opinions. So just remember that. Cool VIP on there. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Hey, we did talk about an hour, but it's a cool discussion. Let's get in some of the comments. We're going to jump over to I guess the Hex price. And don't forget to get into Discord, folks. If you haven't got in Discord, we're up to 387 members and heading up to 400. So definitely use the link in the video description to get into that. We're going to jump over to the Hex markets to see how they're going. So we're going to check that and then get into the discussion. Woohoo! Man, there's been a lot of videos today, man. A lot of content creators. It's been pretty amazing from that point of view. Let me just get out. I got in the wrong spreadsheet there. Hedron. It's been a lot of content today. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's content from multiple people. 2 videos from Richard Hart. Can you believe it? That's pretty impressive. 2 videos from Richard Hart. All right, cool. We've got Hex at 12.19 cents. And of course, a lot not happening there. Obviously, delay in Pulsechain definitely impacting this as well. And of course, Hedron there, 11.87. We've also got 21.55 on Maxi and PLSD at 2.65. So the shining lights, PLSD, Maxi still looking pretty good at this stage. Hedron trying to make a little move up there as well. Let's get into some of the comments here. I'm not sure where I finished, so I'm going to try and catch up. I think I missed a lot of comments, so apologize for that. Let's get into some of these. Just going to scroll down through some of these. Katie says, Superman, always keeping it real. Cheers. Woohoo. Good to see you in the house there. I think I've seen that one already. So I'm going to jump through. Results in the house. Let's go. Very, very cool. Shallon Hex says, sorry, my bad. That's all good. We just try to keep this channel kind of family channel and keep the drama as much as possible out of the channel as well, because I don't think really helps the community. It is all the drama that people drag over from Twitter. What else? We got Baby Turtles in the house with the Turtles. Love it. Turtle power in the house. Woohoo! What else here? We've got R32 says power more RH streams with Playboy model after the RH kerfuffle. Yeah, well, we try to keep away from all that stuff on this channel. MTD says, anyone else getting clipping on the replays? man dropping facts and YouTube trying to censor it, says MT. Yeah, well, MTD, it's because I do so many live streams, I think that's what's happening, and it must be getting like backed up, and I think that's why it takes a long time. Typically, it does take a long time for live streams to load up, because some of mine have been like 2 hours, and I do 2 of them back to back. Just wonder whether that's having an impact. So that's all I'd say. Definitely get in the Discord there. Let's have a look at some of these. Sam in the house there with the emojis, looking good. Sam says replays have been choppy over the last couple of days in particular. I've had that feedback. It's not much I can do about it. I think even if I upgrade some of the features here, they'll probably be a little bit too. It make the problem even worse if I upgrade. Who hasn't booped the like yet? Definitely smash that like if you haven't hit the like button, and definitely subscribe to the channel. What else is house set? Roslaw's in house, brand new Hexkin here. Hey, good welcome, Rolos. Welcome to the Hexkin community, and of course, you come to a good place. So if you haven't hit this, the subscribe button, smash the subscribe, hit the like, and definitely get into Discord. We've got a really cool community in here, and of course, one that's very helpful. Also, good information. We've got useful links in here, video tutorials, how to use Pulse and Pulsechain bridge, and of course, great general chat. We've got links to all the new tokens as well, and the new tokens there, if you want to check those out as well. It's very cool. Links in the video description. Brownie's in house. Woo-hoo-hoo. Hey, good to see Brownie. What else we got there? Dave says I'm staked, but don't fully understand how the price of T-shares affects me. Have you done anything on this? Yeah, we've talked a lot on T-shares. We've done a lot of videos on here, fully covering Hex. All you need to know about Hex and stuff like that. So there's videos on that. Just use the search on the channel. Yeah, T-shares basically it's getting less T-shares, so your earnings are going up per payment. So pretty cool. I always just say T-shares are simple. T-shares are the ownership of the reward pool. The reward pool includes the inflation in Hex, which is up to 3.69%, and of course half of the penalties that you get from people that don't keep their stakes. If the reward pool's staying fairly similar and the T-shares are shrinking, that means there's more rewards for the T-share owners. It's that simple. That's all you need to know, really, Dave. Obviously, over time, getting T-shares is going to be harder because the T-share rate goes up over time, pretty much. And of course, the Hex price may go against you as well if you're fresh to if you haven't got any Hex. The current price of Hex is just noise unless you're trying to buy or sell. Otherwise, just stake long and chill, says Hex Holder. That's right. Hex Holder says I don't do anything but watch Hex streams all day and chill. That's pretty funny, man. But hey, you're not alone there. You're not alone out there. There's thousands and thousands of people watching, all the content creators out there. DJ A says thank you so much for the info, Hex Token. You're first class, sir. I appreciate that, DJ A. Big shout out to you. Now says not selling any Hex till it's over $5. Yeah, I do still feel pretty confident that this year will be the last year we see $1 Hex. Once again, it will depend on the timing of Pulsechain, because Pulsechain obviously impacted Hex in many ways, as we talked about. Not only have we had 2 sacrifice periods, which have lasted a very long time. If you argue between 15th of July through to the 4th of April this year, and of course we've also had just a delay in the Pulsechain launch. What else we had? That's something else that I'm just missing there. We had something else very big. I can't remember now, but there's another big thing. It'll probably come to me later on. So look here. Got a couple things here. Brazology says BlockFi probably using it as a lease leader. Give a big APY at a loss in the hopes of getting enough new users and hit them with the trading fees. Says Brazology. Yeah, that's definitely possible. What else go? Brazology says you're playing with these dashboards and showing us how it's all done. So super valuable. That's why I love the show. Hey, Brazology, big shout out to you, man. Big Instagram love, or was it a Playboy love there from the Richard Art channel? Pumpkin Owl's in house there. Hello from Ottman, Arizona. Cool, Arizona. I love that Pumpkin Owl. That's so cool. Arizona, definitely one of the places I'd like to go to. Good morning, sir. Mr. Froz from Calcutta, India. Big shout out to you, Mr. Froz. I'm going to jump back to the Hex price there because I must have forgot about it there. Let's go back there. That's where we are at the moment on the Hex, good old Hex price there, 12.19. Now we have had a few, long stakes mature and sold down. That's why we got a big red candle yesterday. but we have been recovering from that, so that's cool. And we got delay in Pulsechain. That's kind of thing. True Brids, the best because I have not played on Testnet. Yeah. Mr. Faraz is in the house there. Good morning to family. Go play on the Testnet lot. It's no big deal. But what all the buttons do before we go live, yeah, it's always better to get onto that. As we say on Discord, if you're new to the channel, of course, we've got little videos here. We've got all the useful links, so all of the links here. Now I'm going to make this the ultimate links. Going to have the ultimate list as I can. We've got Hex. We've got everything about Hex there. Audits, key accounts, layman guides. There's a few more layman guides I'm going to add in there, like the wiki and stuff like that. But it's coming. Pulsechain links, Pulse X links for Testnet. And of course, we got the Pulsechain sacrifice checkers there, Richard Hart key links there. We got the trading links there, including limit order, matcher, and 1 inch. Rinkby Ethereum testnet, you're going to need that for the Pulsechain testnet if you want to play with Pulse Ramp. We got the derivative products there for Hedron, including the upcoming staking features in there as well, if you want to check those out. And of course, Maximus as well, which has been amazing. It really has been a shining light. Onboarding tools there, staking Hex calculator and all sorts of stuff. Really, really cool. I love Stake Hex today, and How to Pulse, of course, doing amazing job there on education for people. And of course, we've got the Ethereum blockchain stuff there. If you want to learn how big Ethereum is, of course, Pulsechain's forking Ethereum. You can check that out on Uniswap and all the wallets. And of course, we've got all the streamers. Was 100 streamers or so that are probably dedicated in some form or another. Pretty big. And of course, we've got Pulsechain Sacrifice project results there as well if you want to check out the latest and greatest sacrifice results, including Fiat that we were just looking at before. So definitely cool. We've also got the small videos on Pulsechain Bridge and of course PulseX there. They're all 2 to 5 minutes long. So if you want to learn how to use the bridge and PulseX before the launch, it's very cool, man. PulseX is the exchange. It's going to be super good. And of course, the AMM bot's going to harvest PRC 20 pairs and put it into all these pools. So we're going to have different type of pools, but it's going to have the AMM pool set up first before people get access to that. It's going to be really cool. Nice. What else we got going there? It's announced this, but I love watching content like this. Me too. Ash Tree's in the house there. Woo-hoo-hoo! And let's have a look here. So now it says, I did not plan to wait for an on-ramp. Let me just put that back to the Hex price. I did not plan to wait for an on-ramp and buy enough to transact for a lifetime. Other than that, no plans really. Like you said, I missed it. PLSX on the other hand. Which comes through some of these. Hexodal says Aave gets PRC 20s airdrops, so they surely can use those. Says Hexodal. Yeah, that's a good insight there, Hexodal. Appreciate that. What else we got going there? Javier says any more free airdrops? We'll probably have a lot of free airdrops over the next year there, Javier. So it'd be pretty. I'll look forward to that. Pulse77 says, hey buddy, just add a note that Pulsechain has just got live. Is that the case? No, it's not the case. Pulsechain. Oh, by the way, there is a scam going around saying that Pulsechain has gone live, and you to log in to hit the link. Do not hit the link and do not interact with that link. There's a big scam going on at the moment. Pulse77's kind of, I think, is the one that you've got there. That is a lie. That is a lie. Pulsechain is not live. Wait, the only time you ever, even I said this many times, even from content creators, and there's many of us out there, you must always check with the Richard Hart official links, because Richard Hart is the one that's going to be giving out the official links. He's the one that's going to be giving the official announcements. We do content. We do best out to relay information. But once again, there are scammers out there. If you've been in the Pulsechain chat for Telegram, things like that, they will know. And of course, you'll be targeted. So I think Telegram's particularly vulnerable to that. Just to take that into account. So be careful out there. Do not interact with any links that are sent to you from Pulsechain saying that it's alive. And you can easily see by the URL that they're sending you or whatever, that something's not right with the URL. It's typically very subtle. It's kind of a very phishing trick. And of course, they may have an underscore, have everything the same, but an underscore, something like that. It'll be very subtle. And of course, once again, if you're out there, Pulsechain, official announcement from Richard, official links from Richard. Obviously, we do our best on these channels, but once again, Richard is the founder. He's the one setting the tone. And be careful of these scams here. I got notified of that scam yesterday. I was going to talk about it, but I forgot about it. So Pulse77, thanks for bringing that up. It is a pretty tricky scam. Saying Pulsechain is ready. Come and check your chat, I think it's your balances or something like that. But obviously, as soon as you click that link, you're already in trouble. is my guess. So just be careful there. Aave did a whole 3x in 2 years, says Hex and Fiat surely going to do better than that, says Hex. Yeah. Angor says if you borrow 20,000 on Hex, that would mean you would have to repay 20,000 Hex. How's it a long position? Says Angor. Well, I've gone long because I'm holding it to buy to make money. If the price goes against me, then it's ruined my position. Simple as that. What else? The Vision and Nels in the house there. Woohoo! Good to see it. And I can't wait until launch because the SAC is over. Wait to launch till SAC is over. Shell Hex says Hex has been strong. All about them T-shares. That's true. What else we're doing here? I appreciate all the work you put in on the channel. Lies says, hey, you're welcome. Yo, good to see you in here, man, says Davis. Very, very cool. Yeah, from Richard Hart only, that's right. Very, very nice. So cool. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. The markets are doing okay at this stage. Yeah, we'll have fun when all these DApps come into play. It's going to be so much fun. 12.19 cents Hex at the moment, not doing too much at this stage. And yeah, we'll have a look at the rest of the prices. We've got Hex at 12.19 cents. We've got Hedron at 11.87. We've got Maxi at 21.55 and Pulse Dodge at $2.60. We've got BNB memes. These are the ones on the BNB chain. These are the ones that are going to get airdropped over. And we've got BNB there at almost 9 tenths of a penny there. We've got P33 at 44, and we've got IM there at 14.31. So IM still struggling a little bit there, but other than that, doing pretty well. Now, obviously, these guys, I think all these projects are going to do well on Pulsechain. I have a feeling they're all going to do pretty well. The only thing is that P33 has got a lot more volatility, but I do think a free Pulse does very well. As already they've got over 100,000 people on it, then that should be amazing to see them play out on that. But I just wish I would have added that type of scan to my last video I did with Rags. Yeah. We are the real one, Superman. Love you, brother. I only care about helping each other like you. I appreciate that, Jonathan. Big shout out. And a big shout out from It's Now to you also, Jonathan. Yeah, definitely. So that just came out. So I don't have the link of the picture of that scam, but if anyone's sending you anything like that, it's a scam. The team's not going to contact you with stuff like that. It's not that kind of setup. So you just get the official links from Richard Hart. We want you all to be safe. Don't interact with it. That's all scam. It could look 100% real. There'll just be something wrong with the URL or something. The link itself is the contamination. That's the dangerous part, getting into the link. And of course, particularly if it's a simple scam, you might have to go to the other side of the link, and then that's where the scam is. But sometimes the link itself can be dangerous, so be careful. Cool VIP, as we say, cool VIP. So yeah, there's lots of cool stuff happening there on Pulsechain. We're just going to be patient until it comes, and we'll see how we get on. I don't think Richard's got anything else that's just come out recently. I've changed all the colors here on the Twitter. You see what's got yellow now. We've got some cool shoes. If you were offered these before the public, would you? Air Force One Nikes. I like the red ones there. The street ones are not too bad. The other two I'd probably leave. I know some people like the gold, but I'll probably take the red one there. That one there. Don't know about that one. Definitely like the red, and that's kind of cool. Maybe for skating, if I was skating. Stopped skating a long time ago, but yeah. Yes, there's only 9 versions, so cool. Nothing new from there. Very cool. Let's get into the chat there. No more further chats. Hey, we might wrap it up early today. Hour and 15 minutes. Yeah, we're going to probably wrap it up. I'll probably have an early dinner. Hope you guys have enjoyed the live stream and a good cover of Fiat coming, man. The Pulsechain Bank, I think it's going to be pretty badass. Interest deposits, lending, margin trades, flash loans, staking. And of course, there's when you do lending, there's more features that you can do that we could have in the future. You could do interest reset up interest rates on different peers on different platforms. You could do that. You can do currency swaps, so interest rate swaps, currency swaps. You can do collateral swaps. So there's lots of different features that we can do with Fiat coming up. So I think it's going to be pretty neat as well. So cool. Well, let's see how we get on with that. Yeah, it's going to be fun. There's going to be so much innovation coming on the Pulsechain. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be absolutely awesome. Let's jump over to the DEX there. I'm going to jump back to Hex there. cool. Coming up now in 15 minutes. We're going to finish up there. Probably Lucy, great stream, man. Appreciate that. Ankish is in the house. Ankish is in the house. Good to see you, Ankish. Enjoy your dinner. Take care. Says Lights Beneath. Absolutely. Imagine getting wrecked by a scam after waiting this long. Yeah, that'd be horrible. Nodding out, Superman, tomorrow for another day. Woohoo! Hey, thanks very much. I'm going to sign off too myself. Thanks for watching, folks. Catch you guys tomorrow. 2 live streams. If you haven't subscribed, smash the subscribe and hit the like button on your way out. And hey, thanks so much. I do appreciate the support. Onwards and upwards. Let's smash out for your Hex Token channel. Remember, smash out some emojis. And of course, to all the regulars here, you know how things go. We're going to rock that out. Bam. Peace out. And see you guys tomorrow. Moon. All right. I'm being silly enough now, says KD. KD's like, go to sleep now. Go to sleep. All right. Bye for now. Take care, everybody. See you in the next one. Peace.